All right, so let's talk about the news of the day, which begins with a guy named Michael Sussmann. This story is incredible, and I recommend that everybody read. Well, you should read Andy McCarthy on National Review, no matter what, because he's brilliant, but especially if it involves something legal. He's always got great insights, and he has a great piece today that walks us through what the story is with Michael Sussmann. Broad brush, here's what's happened. We've gotten an indictment now in the John Durham investigation. He was the special counsel appointed to look into how the hell did Russiagate happen? How did we have, all of these accusations being hurled around and impeachment and all of this based on a bunch of nonsense. So we have the special counsel, John Durham, looking into it. And he has just secured a grand jury indictment. His investigation's not over, but he had to do it because the 5-year statute of limitations against this one guy was about to run this Saturday or Sunday. So he's gotten an indictment against Michael Sussmann. Who is Michael Sussmann? He's a prominent cybersecurity lawyer who happened to work for Hillary Clinton's campaign, who went into the FBI 5 years ago and said, basically, there's a problem. There's a back channel communication based on our expertise between Trump Tower and this Russian bank that's essentially a front for Vladimir Putin, and then did not disclose to the FBI that he was working for the Clinton campaign. He went in there, Glenn, like, I'm just a public servant. I'm just a cybersecurity expert who sees smoke where there must be fire, FBI. And he's speaking to the general counsel of the FBI at the time, with whom he had a relationship, and didn't disclose any of his campaign ties. And apparently, according to the FBI anyway, he's denying it when asked, specifically denied that he was representing the Clinton campaign. And what Andy McCarthy's reporting shows us, because he read the whole indictment, is at the same time the guy was denying his relationship with the Clinton campaign, Glenn, he was billing his very time meeting with the FBI back to the Clinton campaign. So it seems like they've got him dead to rights if they can prove any of this. And all of this tells us what?
So this is the second indictment that the Durham investigation has uncovered or extracted. The first one took place in January, when an FBI lawyer pled guilty to having lied to the FISA court, submitting altered documents to the FISA court in order to persuade that court to issue warrants to allow them to spy on Carter Page, who, as everyone might remember, was a former official of the Trump campaign. It was somebody that Russiagators and liberal fanatics adamantly believed was about to be in prison, that he was a Russian agent. And when the Mueller report came out, they said they couldn't find any evidence that Carter Page ever was acting as an agent for the Kremlin, but they lied to the FISA court. The FBI did, and Durham got a guilty plea from the FBI lawyer who actually altered documents to convince the FISA court to let them spy. So this is the second time now that he's found alleged criminality, not as part of the alleged Trump-Russia collusion that consumed the media and our politics for 4 years or more, but as part of the origins of that scandal. Who is it that created that scandal, and how is it that it got disseminated? And so the fact that, people, there were so many media frauds, Megyn, as part of the Trump-Russia story that I think people have forgotten them all. But this issue about Trump supposedly having a secret server that allowed him and his organization to communicate with this Russian bank was very consequential during the 2016 campaign, in large part because they got one journalist, Franklin Foer, who used to be the editor-in-chief of the New Republic at Slate now, who wrote an article ratifying it all. They got Hillary Clinton herself to issue a statement during the campaign, tweeting it, saying, this is extremely disturbing. We know that Jake Sullivan, who at the time was with the Clinton campaign, is now Biden's national security advisor, was deeply enmeshed in this story. And then you had all of these Russiagate personalities on TV who profited so much from pushing this conspiracy theory, Chris Hayes and Natasha Bertrand, who now is at CNN, all of those MSNBC people who for 2 years claimed that this story was very substantial. And one of the things the indictment says, and I think it's the reason why they're so angry at this lawyer who went to them and pushed it, was the FBI quickly concluded that there was actually no evidence to it, that this was a very ordinary kind of internet activity, that there was no evidence there was any communication, let alone a clandestine server between Trump and the Russians. So the FBI learned very quickly that the story was false, but let the media for 2 years treat it as though it were real. And they're now kind of trying to scapegoat this lawyer, who definitely is to blame, by saying, oh, he tricked us. If he had told us the truth that he was working for Hillary Clinton's campaign, we wouldn't have even looked at it. We would have known it was just a political trick. But by hiding from us the fact that he was working for the Clinton campaign and pretending he was just an ordinary citizen, we spent our time and resources chasing it down, but quickly realized there was nothing to it.
Mm-hmm. This is what Rick Grinnell just said on Fox News. He was like, he's basically throwing the hooey card on the claim by the FBI that they didn't understand right from the get-go that this guy was a Hillary Clinton campaign operative and was not there as just Joe Good Citizen. Here's Rick on Fox the other night.
I don't believe that the FBI officials were duped by an outside lawyer working with Hillary Clinton who lied about his client. Inside the FBI, the Russian collusion investigation continued, not because some lawyer lied to them about who he was working for, because the FBI leadership knew this information was wrong. They knew it was made up. They continued the investigation because it would help Hillary Clinton.
Mm-hmm. And that's what you're saying. But that doesn't really help Michael Sussmann today, because you can't lie to the FBI. Even if the FBI was like, this guy's probably a liar, you can't do it. And they have a new problem to deal with, which is this investigation, right? I mean, John Durham, he didn't waive any right to pursue this claim. And so Michael Sussmann's going to have to answer for, mistruths that he offered to the FBI. But it's beyond that, Glenn, right? Because what they allege is that this guy, Michael Sussmann, was working for the Hillary Clinton campaign and for another client. And the other client's unnamed, but apparently this other client expected to get an important government cybersecurity position in the Hillary Clinton administration. And this guy, this unnamed guy, ran a tech company. And the FBI, or John Durham, I should say, his people have spoken, I guess, with the employees of this tech corporation who say, our boss made us run extensive queries regarding Donald Trump and his campaign and their databases. And we were uncomfortable doing this kind of spying because, we knew it was wrong, but our boss is a very powerful person and made us do it. And we went to our boss and said, you know what? The evidence is pretty weak. This is a weak sauce. Like, as you point out, this is sort of very benign server activity that you're trying to claim as a link to Russia. And that executive was like, I don't care, because basically this is a political project. So this is what we have here, is this tech exec who wanted a job in the Hillary administration, and the Hillary campaign lawyer, very connected with the Clinton campaign, using privileged access to non-public information. This is from Andy McCarthy now, for political purposes. They concoct it into a political narrative that they know is baseless, but they can convincingly spin it to suggest Donald Trump is in cahoots with Putin. They simultaneously peddle it to lie to the media and the FBI. By the way, they got it placed in the Steele dossier too, the infamous Steele dossier. And the FBI opens an investigation of Donald Trump because Team Clinton has made it happen. It's all there, black and white.